Hello. Back to normal programming this week. We haven't got a guest on. So we're going to have a subject matter tonight to discuss. But anyways, good evening, everyone. Is it wet and windy where you are? It's a bit, bit wet down here in the south, I tell you. It's very wet.
Very moist in the Midlands.
Bit moist. Oh, I love that word, moist. I love
can't
that
beat
word,
the moist.
Oh, can't be a bit of moist.
Lexi looking all a bit comfortable already.
I love a bit of moistness myself, don't worry.
Moist. Anyways, well, I think we've had quite a few good weeks. We've had some really impressive guests on the show, and this week we thought we'll go back to we'll resume normal show really, and have a bit of a debate really, which Matt came up with in our Discord group.
Hello.
And I thought, yeah, why the hell not? Why don't we discuss this? So you know what the title is. I don't know if I've dropped everything, by the way. If I remember what the title is, it was Are Bad Kits Good for Beginners? That's what the title is, isn't it? I think that's what I put it as.
That is what you've put.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I can't remember what I put now. Yeah, should you give a bad kit to a beginner? And I think, and yeah, I think that'd be a good discussion to have. I think we've all got thoughts of when we were first doing scale modeling. I think nowadays, everybody's got it so easy, really, haven't they, when it comes to scale modeling? So, but anyways, let's have a quick chat with all. Hello, Mix Modeler. I see you're back in the chat. Lovely to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. You had a good weekend?
I did. A really nice week away, and I'm all chilled.
You went to the valleys, did you, or something?
Huh? Say that again.
I said you went to the valleys in Wales.
Went to Cardiff for the weekend.
Went to Cardiff. Yeah. Well, fair play. John, Alec, in over the pond. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and I hope everybody else is too.
What's that project you've got on your workbench?
Oh, this is that Jackal 2 high mobility weapons platform for the wheeled vehicles in military use group build. Yeah.
Is that like a long-term project, or is it something that you're wanting to do? Or?
I'll probably finish it well. It's a 3-month group build, and there's not that much PE, and there's really not that much to it. So yeah, I figure probably by maybe the end of January I'll have this done. That's my guess.
Oh, fair play. Cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. James, how are you, my friend?
Oh, dead. I'm here.
I see you've got the Gannet in the background there. What time did you get yours?
11:30 this morning.
Yeah, tell me about it. Monday. And a lot of people had it on Saturday as well. Who else got it on Saturday? I know Greg's Models got it on a Saturday. Anyone else had it on a Saturday? No? Okay, we'll move on to that.
I got mine came today.
Yours came today as well, did it?
Yeah,
mine came
probably about 10 minutes after James did, even though we're completely nowhere near each other.
Yeah. We got Matt from Model Minutes. Did you get a Gannet, my friend?
No, I never ordered one.
Why
Didn't
not?
you?
No, because I already ordered too much, and I already have too much, and I already bought more things than I should have bought this year, and I haven't built enough to justify buying more. So it will just sit on my shelf for like the next 10 years. I know it's a Gannet. I know it looks amazing. I just haven't got one yet.
Yet. Are you waiting for the creator day?
Do you think they'll do one?
Well, that's what made me laugh. There was I with the brand new Spitfire, 124th, and then we go there on the day to see, to the factory where they were producing this, and they gave us one there, so I had two.
Yeah, to be fair, I did say to you, didn't I? Oh, I'll wait and see if they give us one for free.
You did, yeah. Swine. Yeah,
Well, I don't think they'll be so generous with the Gannet, but kudos to them. I have got a Messerschmitt ME410 courtesy a la Airfix, so watch out for that one coming soon.
Ooh.
That's yeah. I was trying to work out how to do the mottling at the back, and somebody suggested I use one of those brass plates that you get that you can use for shaping.
Yeah, do that.
I think I'm gonna do that on screen and just see how that goes when I build it. I've got masks for it. Turned up yesterday.
Masks,
which is cool. I've got the masks for it because I just thought that was going to be incredible. So I've got the masks ready. Pardon?
Who are they by?
CT scale models mask set.
Yeah.
No way, they've already created one because I've recorded my unboxing like last week, which it's not been released yet. And I said in the video, I don't know of anyone who's made masks yet, but I would love to see masks. I will have to look them up.
I was told they were out 3 days after Telford.
No way.
Yeah, there was some really early because I saw some on eBay as well. Like that.
Look how many
you that come out.
That's a lot of masks there, isn't it? For that, for a 1/72 scale. But then again, I've gone over to masks now. Like I'm in the middle of doing my Mitsubishi Zero 172 for a friend, and I've got a complete mask set on that. It was a delight, I must say, a delight to put masks on. Don't have to worry about tamming a tape and cutting it and spreading it and fingering it and rubbing it and getting it into position and cutting it, you know. Oh, anyway, there's Alex. He's on board wearing his tin cans. Hi, Alex. How are you?
No, I'm good, thank you. I thought I would spare everybody the possibility of echo. So I'm in a slightly different setup here. So yeah,
we definitely got echo from you. No, I'm joking. We haven't.
we still have echo.
And finally, we got Sully
really
in. No echo. Then we got Sully, who's just launched his Seeking video. How has it gone down, my friend?
It's gone down. It's annoyingly actually gone down really well. Nobody's been negative about it, which I was disappointed. No, it's done really well actually. It's one of the best videos I've had. Well, it's not the best performing video, but it's the best performing video I've had in the time it's been out. If that makes sense. So, yep.
Oh, good. And also, we got Fenris popped in as well. Hello, Fenris. I presume you're undercover because you're working. So
yeah,
I get that. But, he'll keep an eye on the chat for us. Remember, if you've got any questions or anything, make sure you put question in capital letters at the beginning, and then Fenris will pop them up on the chat and take them down again as he sees fit. We've got plenty in the chat, by the way. But so the question is, are bad kits good for beginners? And I think that's a pretty good thought, pretty good question to ask the panel here. I say yes, but I'm going to leave it open. And because Matt decided this and suggested this, let's start with you, mate. What's your thoughts on this then? Do you think they're a good idea to give a bad kit to a beginner, or should you just shy away and give them a Tamiya tank to build or something like that?
Wow. See, I've had this comment float. I've seen it floating around on various forums and on my comments and stuff. And there seems to be this idea that the best kit for a beginner to build is a bad kit because it will teach them all of the basic skills and, get them that groundwork so that they can then move on to better kits. However, my argument for bad kits being a beginner's first choice is that they shouldn't be the first choice. If you want to cut your teeth on a model, don't give them something like the Revell TA152 or a PM model whatever, because a bad kit can put you off. So I said I'd rather have, I'd rather introduce 1,000 modelers to the hobby with a good kit, which is simple to build, easy enough to do, simple paint scheme, and then they can progress on to terrible kits, which will teach them the basic skills or give them more skills that they've already got. But some people seems to be quite a divisive subject online, because a lot of people are like, oh no, you should always give them a bad kit, and if they can stick it out through a bad kit, then they will be a modeler for life. And it's like, well, I don't necessarily think that's right, because for every one person who sticks it out through a bad kit, there could be 10 who give up, and I'd rather those 10 got started on decent kits. Plus, also, what's wrong with building good kits? If you have a kit that just effectively falls together, you shake the box and it comes out wonderful, and you just paint it and stuff, isn't that what we sort of strive for in the quality that we expect inside the boxes these days anyway? Like, if I did an unboxing and I opened up, I don't know, a brand new tooled Revell Spitfire in 1/32 scale, and it was just terrible, then no one's going to buy it. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to start with one thing. You say that. I don't think it's necessarily the kit that's the problem. I think it's what they've got to work with. Now, if you want to go and see some of the hilarious comments of negative reviews on scale model kits, you want to go to Amazon and the Airfix scale model, right? I'm not joking. The amount of people who will write in and say, this model, I have to buy extra paint, extra cement or glue, because basically all you're getting in the box is a plastic kit and decals. So they think you're going to, you should have everything in the box to make it work. You've got the other aspect of, I think that there needs to be more education that comes along with the scale model kit. For instance, how do you take the parts off the sprues cleanly? As an example, I saw somebody the other day saying, I've just built this model, and he's painted it using paints he found lying around the house and put it together with super glue. And then we had to explain to him and say, no, you need to get this sort of cement.
Sure.
But a bad kit will put you off. And I see it all the time where you go to like a truck festival, there's people buying the Italeri Volvo Globetrotter to build. And I've never built a kit before, but it's interesting to build. But do you know how to actually build a kit? That I think it's the where, whys, and hows, not necessarily what the kit is. I'll tell you what though, if I want to give somebody a kit that they've never built before, I recommend the Tiger ones. I don't even recommend a plane. I recommend the Tiger One starter set from Airfix, but give them some contactor or a needle glue to go with it. That to me is the perfect starter set.
Yeah. So Zinzan's asked, what is the definition of a bad kit? So for someone who does unboxings and reviews, there's certain criteria that I measure kits against, and from where I'm sitting, it's excessive flash, sink marks, poor mold quality. So if there's dirt and stuff in the actual plastic, excessive mold release. What else? Anyone jump in? What else is bad about a kit?
Part of it's fitment, but the trouble is that you don't know fitment until you've actually built it. That's the quote. Unless that's one of the downsides of doing an unboxing without building it, is that you can't necessarily say. I think instructions is a huge part of it. For of a bad kit. I also think that the quality of plastic is a big thing as well.
And decals.
That's it.
If you're met with Mr. Craft, sorry, you go.
Alex?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so I agree with Matt pretty much 100% on this. And I think actually that question of what is a bad kit that Zinzan put there is a really good one. Because what, let's say, the modeling community regards as a bad kit isn't necessarily perceived as a bad kit by a starter. And I'll give a really good example, one that I recommend actually to starters, and it's the Tamiya Sea Harrier, which most people would say, oh, that is Tamiya's worst kit. And I've said this before on Airfix and Chill. It's like, well, it might not be accurate, It's got very little detail, really basic detail cockpit stuff. I mean, basically, you can just get rid of it because you put something else in because there really isn't anything. You know, if you're looking at it from a scale representation, you know, an exact duplication of a Sea Harrier, yeah, it's not a great kit, but it goes together fairly well. It may have some gaps and some bits, but again, a beginner, somebody who's never done a model kit before, isn't really going to be asked about that. And it's fairly chunky. It's 12 quid, so it's not an expensive kit. Ooh. The decals are thick, so actually they're very difficult to fuck up. They might not look great, but at the end of it, you can actually get a decent representation. You know, and if it's your first kit, you're going to look over all of those things. And if you want to improve, you can actually go back to that kit and remake it. You know, you can fill all of those bits that you need to. So I think the definition of what a bad kit is a bit, you've got to look at it through the eyes of, you know, accuracy isn't really part of what makes a bad kit in this case bad, because an absolute beginner isn't going to be looking at that, or at least probably isn't going to be looking at that. Again, I think, Moss, you've hit the nail on the head with the Airfix starter kits. I would say the Sherman is a better starter kit than the Tiger, purely because those split tracks on the Tiger. Yeah. Whereas the Sherman one's all one piece, so there is no kind of fitting those bits together. But I mean, they're made for starters. They're made to be easy to put together. I think ease of putting the kit together is one of the biggest things, because. And I'll tell you what, right? I've been feeling pretty shitty the past week or so, you know, just life stuff and things. And today, couldn't go into the shop. Maria was away. I had to look after the dog and various other things. So I made this. This is the Airfix Cromwell kit. That took me about 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, just sitting, just doing that. And it's complete. That includes doing all of the length and link tracks. I didn't cheat and use the rubber band ones. Lovely kit, and you've got something there. A newcomer could come. It's not difficult, even if you know could leave off all the fiddly bits like the aerial mount and stuff. A newcomer could build that in an afternoon or a day or whatever, and you've got something physical there. You know, to say I've built that, and I think that sense of achievement is super important for coming to your first kit. You know, not having that thing, you get halfway through it and think, you know, this is actually just a ball ache. I'll put it aside. Like Matt said, I would rather, 10 people look at the hobby and 9 of those go away thinking, yeah, this is something I could go further in, than 100 people take bad kits and 99% of them say, this is just too much, you know? Yeah,
definitely. Miss Modler just put in a comment. Do you want to speak on that, Lexi? Because that was quite a good. She's eating. She's eating when she comes back. But she put up a comment. There are you. Do you want to quickly just say what you said in that comment?
Yeah, so saying that ease of putting a subject together is probably more important to a first-time model rather than the accuracy or level of detail. So sort of going on from what Alex said, and I'm like, I don't view myself as like a particularly like super duper modeler. Like I view myself as very average level, and for me, like the thing that's more important, if I'm looking at like, because I build like weird subjects sometimes, and it's not about how super accurate it is to real life. Like I'm not really looking at that. I just want something to look like the thing I like in real life. And even if it's potentially not even the easiest kit, but it sort of does fall together, it has good instructions, that to me is more important than like a kit that is super detailed, has like 5 million parts. It requires a lot more brute force or work to get it to look really nice than a kit that maybe has like 15, 20 parts, but goes together really easily, but doesn't have loads of detail. Like it's way more important to me that it, for any new starter, that it just flows together rather than requiring like 2 days of fighting with a kit to make it reasonably fit together. Like for me, like a good example is like if you look at the old Airfix Nat or Hawk compared to the new Airfix Nat or Hawk, the old one is not a super great experience compared to the new one. And so whenever someone is newer to the hobby, I always recommend them spend a little bit more and get the new one, because they're going to enjoy it a lot more. Whilst I understand, like, the skills you get from doing a bad kit are important, it's like any hobby or experience. If you don't enjoy it the first time, the likelihood of you returning to that are a lot lower. So you want to make, like, if it's someone's first time, you want to make it really nice, which is why it's also good that Airfix have got rid of, like, some of the really old starter sets that were really old moldings that were not great.
It's actually a really super important point. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, as you can say, they've actually discontinued all of them, basically. You know, like the Beetle, which I did for Matt's starter set challenge. You know, I grabbed that Beetle and went for it. And to be fair, because I knew from past experience on using that cement that comes with the thing, you know, with the starter set, I was able to get a pretty good finish. The only thing that kind of let me down was the actual paint in the box. We have this debate all the time. You know, you can have the best model in there, but if you got that humble paint and it comes and you don't know what humble paint should look like or even be like, you just see a very thick, grainy paint in the bottom, you're going to use it. And the fact that you will use it and you wouldn't even know to get the best out of that paint, you water it down. It's all these little things, isn't it? But VFC up there, you know, if you've got a kit that you need to really work hard at and stick to it, you're going to get more reward out of it. So, you know, you could be a beginner and do some pretty good starter sets. Then you'll pick up, say, like Ms. Modeler says, a KP kit or something, which is dire. That might even put you off then. Do you know what I mean? It's
well, that's how Revell. That's how Revell got kind of some of its reputation, isn't it? Because people were used to. I mean, we are talking like 60s and 70s technology. You know, where Airfix was ahead of the game. You know, and Tamiya were coming on the scene, and Revell weren't up there with everybody else. So they got this reputation of being, you know, a bit shit, which has kind of stuck with them on and off through the years. But I think one of the important things that
really
mentioned well, yeah. But I think one of the important things, although there are some kits actually of Revell that I would recommend to starters, but that's another thing. The other important thing I think that's been mentioned by a few people here and has been mentioned in the chat quite a bit. And funnily enough, I had a comment on one of my videos about Revell on the channel yesterday. Was this whole thing about developing skills and about this gate. I hate the mentality. It drives me nuts, and I'm sure it infuriates many of you guys as well. This whole stuff is like, oh, we modelers are assemblers. You know, it's an art form. I can create a great kit from a piece of shit kind of thing. It's like, you've missed the point. You know, it's just like, stop gatekeeping the hobby. It's not yours to do that with. But none of us developed our skills, I'm guessing, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, on our first kit. I certainly didn't. I did many, many kits quite badly. I mean, really badly when I was a really young kid. And then when I came back to the hobby, I still made kits really badly, and until I wanted to learn more and gradually saw other modelers and read magazines, back when magazines were a thing, and started developing those, trying them out little by little. But that was dozens and dozens of kits into my journey. And I'm sure even if you're, you know, super keen and enthusiastic these days, watch a lot of YouTube stuff, you're still not going to develop those skills in your first few kits. So you need positive reinforcement. I think it's so important. I always say, you know, when people say, what's the ideal kit? It's like, well, firstly, it has to be something that you're interested in. There's no point me recommending, you know, that Cromwell to somebody who's into Gunpla and Gundam or dinosaurs like Fenris, you know. Do something that you are really interested in. And, you know, once you've got that, then look around, you know, and I can give a recommendation. If you talk to me, other modelers can look on YouTube, look at reviews and whatever. But the perfect kit for a starter isn't going to be the same for every single person. But don't make it a bad one, because that positive, you know, reinforcement is what brings you back to the next kit and the next kit. And over time, you will develop those skills. And then, we all like to challenge ourselves sometimes, right? And take something on that we know is going to be really challenging. I've done that Revell TA152, which is an ancient kit. And I've made a nice kit of it, and it took a lot. And I'm quite proud of that. But that's an internal thing for me, and I wouldn't do it again. I would choose a really nice one next time. So it's a personal thing. Absolutely.
Well, and furthermore too, right? Like we've qualified what a bad kit is, but I think that there's a second part of it that needs to be qualified, and that's what a beginner is. Are you talking a person's first model that they've ever touched? No, like giving somebody a bad kit for their very, very first model is just, the people that seem to think that we should be doing that are the same people that are thinking our hobby is dying. And if that's all that we do is give new people bad kits, of course our hobby is going to die. But you can still be a beginner after your 10th, 20th model. That's when we start doing those kits. That's when we start experimenting and learning and growing. But for the first one off the bat, that just it's just not a good idea to keep. Somebody might stick it through and become a modeler for life, but you've scared off 10, 20 other people in the process, and that's But again, if you're saying beginner as in somebody who has a few kits under their belt but are still learning, then give them a couple, build a couple not so great engineered kits to learn from and to grow. But starting for the very first,
no. I as I say, I'm in two minds. What you're saying, beginner. Somebody may want to build that E-type Jag that Revell's done, and to be fair, it's not a bad kit. And they had their issues with it, but as a starter, you're going to have to invest quite a lot of pennies in getting anywhere near to getting that model done to a satisfactory level. And that will include the paints, the brushes, there's certain paints that you wouldn't want to use with a brush. That's why people say to me, do you recommend a paint for using a brush? I said, if you use it properly, Humbrol paint, the acrylic, if you want a hand brush, use a hairy stick on it, you can't go that far wrong, and it's relatively cheap. Was it $1.95 a bottle, if I'm right? So if you're doing the E-type Jag, you need the red, because they do it in red, not green. You need the black, you need the chrome, and a brown for the leather. So that's 4 paints. That's £8 worth of paint. 3 brushes, middle, small middle, and a flat brush. A flat brush is good, but unless they know that, they understand and they realize that they're going to need the specialist cement and the paint and what brushes to use, they'll probably end up using poster paints that they get from, if they're for an adult, from what their or their grandchildren might be using to paint their pictures with. You know what I mean? So maybe it's more about education. Maybe it's not about the kit as such. Maybe it's about the education. Maybe that's more where we need to look for. I don't know. What's your thoughts on this, James?
Well, it's like me. I started off with an Airfix kit. Bizarrely, a Mark 9 Spitfire. Brother and my brother-in-law helped me build it. But then my dad decided he'd buy me a kit, any kits, didn't do any research, and they were awful. Like he had his heart in the right place, but he'd go into BC's and buy a kit. Any kit would do, as long as it fitted his price point. So I'd end up with things like an MPC X-Wing or a Revel Victor, 196 scale Revel Victor, which is Limburg. Thing is, they were awful kits, but I loved them.
Yeah.
The thing is, most kits used to end up in the bin after about a week because I messed up the paint and whatever else. But obviously, the bad kits I do remember.
You see, I do remember bad kits from my childhood as well, and they scarred me. I mean, sometimes physically when I stabbed myself with them, but I remember the old Airfix. It was a weird scale. I think it was like 1/87th scale, V2 and trailer. And I still remember, and I can only have been about, 7 or 8 when I made that kit.
Yeah.
Horrific. I just remember nothing fitting. I remember glue being everywhere, melted plastic. And I bought it again fairly recently, but a couple of years ago, to go back and actually kind of cure that trauma. But that put me off Revell for a long time. And when I went back to Revell, not much had changed, you know. I don't want to get into Revell really, but I think, as we've all said, a bad kit can really put you off. If not modeling, then certainly a manufacturer. And if it's just one out of you unlucky, is that fair? To your experience, because you're excluding potentially good models, and a manufacturer who may have just made a mistake.
Yeah. A-Sheep just put up, the new Airfix starters are great, but the sadistic individual who decided that the yellow Sea King should be branded as a starter set should rethink their choices. Great model, but it's not for newbies. I'll tell you a little story behind that, because Dale actually explained it all to us, what the new attack is. So there are those that you would class as starter sets, which will be like the sports cars they've released recently, the two tanks, the Sherman and the Tiger. You've also got the Spitfire, you've got the Red Arrows jet, you got the Land Rover, basic kits, so the design basic. Now they decided that, and they were doing what they were called larger starter sets, which included these cars like the Jaguar, was it that speed, the XJS or something like that? I don't know, some sort of speed car. They decided that actually we're going to scrap this whole idea of larger sets and starter sets. What they're going to do is have starter sets and gift sets. And I do like the thought of the gift set, because, say, for instance, you want to do a Sea King, it will be classed as a gift set. It will come with 2 brushes, 6 or 7 paints, and a kit that does have, I think it's up to level 2, and I think the Sea King was a level 2 in 1/72. But those gift sets are for those who have built 3 or 4 models before. Same with the Concorde. It isn't a starter set, it's a gift set, the Concorde. And to be fair,
and I can tell you, Moss, and I've said this before to you, I think that's bullshit. And this was before I had the shop, and that's been borne out by retail people coming in, customers coming into the shop. They don't see any differentiation. They just see them with the paints and with the brushes, and they pick them up. And I can give my advice as shop owner and modeler about maybe little Timmy, if this was his first model, probably shouldn't be doing this kit. But that's a difficult conversation to have, and also not really one that I imagine Airfix wanted people to have necessarily.
But what would you call them instead then? Say, for instance, you want to put, a gift. So
I just wouldn't have them. I just honestly wouldn't have them to be. I would have starter sets and that's it.
But the idea is that you build up your paint portfolio.
Yeah, but really, you're going to build up your paint collection out of those little shitty pots?
Well, why not?
Just a shit.
Well, the paint. I apologist hat on, right? The last 2 starter sets I've had, the pots of paint have been immaculate.
Well, okay. Assuming they're great, Moss, I can almost guarantee, casting back into my earlier self, most of the paint's going to be used on the individual kit, because kids are not, let's say they're generous with their paint application. And a little pot like that, they're going to use pretty much the paint pot on that kit. So are they building stuff up?
Most of the paint's going to end up on the desk or the bench or the table.
I think it's a nice idea. I don't think it translates to reality.
Yeah. I was just saying that I just thought that maybe that the idea is that the gift sets are for more of the adult than the child. Because the starter sets are, to me, they are aimed at the younger cross section of newbie scale modelers. things like Sea Kings, like that, the Jag, and that would be more for the adult. Like the Titanic, for instance. That's a gift set. I would expect an adult wanting to build the Titanic more than a child would. The F-35B.
I can tell you, the only Titanic I sold in the shop was to Kid.
And I bet you said it was the best one.
No, I didn't. It was a revolved
sale. It's such a different. Well, you want them to come back in your shop. That's what you really want. So I bet you went through the whole thing with them. Make sure you water down the paints. Make sure that you don't use the cement, because don't put the cement tube anywhere near the kit. Drag the cement onto a pallet and then apply it using a cocktail stick. Things. That's it. That's one of the things I've said about their in the Airfix starter set. Their how to start guide has a couple of things that aren't mentioned and diagrams that shouldn't be in there. For instance, have I got one here? I don't know. I have. They've got the actual tube of cement showing you and where the yellow line is, where you put the glue, and that's a fallacy. They need to get rid of that ASAP. But we've had that now for 3 years and they haven't changed it. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
the other
all
thing
we
I wanted
can
to
do.
say sorry, carry on. Finish. I thought you'd
Well,
finish.
you can say your point. You're going to say was that maybe it's not the kit, it's the education in the kit that needs to be. They've got videos online from that lad who does the Airfix starter set. So he does a really good job filming and showing how to build a kit using what's in the box. Apart from, he always says, we're going to prime it using this Humbro primer in a tin can. You know what I mean? But they've never put that. They haven't done a QR code on the box on the instruction. Said, watch this guy build this kit. And that's all the education you need then.
So my point sort of follows on from,
and they get a link to that video.
Yeah. It'd be easy done. Because once you upload to video, that never changes. Go on, Em.
Yeah, no, because that kind of goes to my next point, which is, I see some of the things about old sets and building up your modeling skills and stuff. I think that, forgive me for offending you all, is an old farts view. I think that doesn't think about the modern audience that you're looking at. Gen Z, if we're looking at Gen Z or even prior generation, doesn't have the patience that boomers, Gen Xers, etc. do. They want instant gratification way more. So if you're going to give them a kit which is difficult, they're going to say, fuck this. I'm better off playing World of Warcraft, or not World of Warcraft, that's even an old RPG, but there's Baldur's Gate 3. Okay. So I think you have to give a bit of that, that dopamine hit, the bit of an adrenaline, to be able to catch them, because otherwise, we are in a set of generations which are losing a lot of, manual skills that aren't going out getting into the world as much as prior ones. So I think modeling is a great way to get into that for, mental well-being and all the things that we've said before. But I don't think we can approach it quite from using our direct experience in like, well, I soldiered through this. It's like, yeah, but there were 3 channels and sod all else to do. So it was that or read a book, because it's raining, I couldn't go and play outside. So, bit different now.
All I'm going to say is, Alex, is that, I've got the Scale Model Club Facebook group. And 9 times out of 10, when people come on there asking for advice, they haven't got a clue where to start. I don't, so we advise them saying, oh, watch this video here, we'll do that, or don't do that kit just yet because you've got this lifeboat that you're never going to finish. why don't you try something similar and suggest a different kit? So I'm only going by my experience of people that have joined the Facebook group, which open to everyone, experienced novices, whatever. And the novices always come up with the basic questions of, what paint do I use? How should I do this? How do I? And that's why I'm saying about the education side of it, that, you can suggest, red people who pick up these kits will go, oh, I want to build that. And then when they get it home, realize there's paint, cement, and a paintbrush. And they're starting using the paintbrush to put the glue on to put the cement on the model. So that was why I was coming from that. But just from experience of seeing these new people getting into scale modeling, and they've always asked, what's the best way of removing the parts off the sprues? And I said a lot of them was asking, I've just bought this model. What airbrush do I need?
Straight into the deep end.
But that is the sort of questions we get asked.
Yeah, I've seen that. People go, I've seen it on Reddit where this guy was like, hey guys, I've just bought my first model kit. Any hints on tips? And it was like, I don't know, say for example, an Airfix Spitfire Mark 1, which you can build a very passable kit with what's included. And literally the first comment was, first you're going to want to go out and spend another £150 to get yourself an airbrush and a compressor. And it was like, but I don't have 150 quid. I've literally got my tenner.
Yeah. Now, but going back to the actual quit, is there such a thing as a dog shit kit? Well, yeah, it's called Mr. Craft. But other than that,
the FOMO was lovely.
PM models.
The Sea Fury is probably one of their stronger ones.
Yes, I agree with that.
A starter kit should be good quality with excellent fit, low part count, simple paint scheme, and enhanced instructions that are more detailed or informative than normal kit instructions.
Yep, agreed.
Amen.
Yep.
That's
100%.
it. And I'm going to say the recent Airfix kits have that.
Yeah.
So
I think the simple paint scheme, I think somebody else, I think it was you, Mus, or Matt mentioned the simple paint scheme as well. That's super important. I mean, Messerschmitt ME 109 E3, great, but you don't want to do mottle camouflage as a starter. A Vampire, which is silver, much better.
Yeah.
Whites, reds, and yellows are terrible choices for a starter set.
Yeah.
So that's seeking the Jet Provost. It's just hard to do those colors well. I mean, you can, but it is a faff, and it's another skill in itself.
Yeah, although it's a fabulous kit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And lots of decals as well on a kit, on a starter set. So,
but see, this is where Airfix went a bit wrong with that Bugatti. Do you remember I said I was talking to Nunu about it, and I said that scheme, that's fucking hard for a scheme. That Bugatti mixing the red and the black. That and they don't tell you, there's no masking tape in the box. You would clearly mask up that glass to do that kit.
Whereas the DB5, overall silver, perfect.
Oh yeah,
perfect. Lord Bodford, I've got that RNL lifeboat, and I know I'm not ready to tackle it, mate. I'm not ready to tackle it. I'm not even ready to tackle it.
I think collectively, maybe we could.
Do you know what? It's funny that because the first part of the instructions, unless you know how to read instructions, you would have cut the bottom half of it off. Because the way the instructions, the first bit is where to cut it off to make it sit. But you don't need to. You just, obviously, if you do the diorama, you can cut it off there. But looking at the instructions, it's like you have to cut the hull off at the bottom. So unless you know that, you wouldn't even,
I hate it when companies do that, and they tell you as well that there's an option. There's this kind of bomb or this kind of drop tank, and I'm like, okay, that's great. Which one am I using for my paint scheme?
Yeah,
I don't know. It could be a slightly different variant. Like, was this particular drop tank used on this MiG-15 in the Korean War, or was it only used on Russian aircraft, for example, which we held back at home? Like, I don't know.
And I will say, Tamiya does pretty good with that. with a lot of their aircraft, they'll say if you're doing scheme A, scheme B, use this bomb. If you're using scheme D, use this one and this one.
Yeah, learning the instructions is a big thing, but then that's by and by with it all, isn't it? The more you experience, the more you get to. I could look at an Airfix instruction manual, the instructions and go, yeah. But if I see a Ming one, or what's the other one that I saw Armour Hobby, for instance, I don't think they're the clearest instructions going. Personally, I don't think they're that good. The Tamiya ones are pretty good.
I think though, if you've got a really good starter kit, Moss, the instructions should really be a guide. If you need really clear instructions to point something out in a starter kit, I think they need to go back to the tooling and rethink it.
I
don't disagree that the instructions need to be clear, but
put it this way: if you get given a 1/32 scale Revell F-18 Hornet, run away as a starter set. Run away, because obviously that one requires bits being cut off to get it to fit.
The Hella starter sets are perfect for ensuring you'll never build a second model. Yeah, it's like, but that's the thing. I put it back a little bit. I did an article about starter sets on my Substack, and I was talking about, I used a bit of an analogy of when I was a kid, and we went fishing, and my mate got all the best equipment and didn't come back and couldn't catch a fish with it. The Italeri starter set had everything in it. It even had the perfect cement. A little pot of cement in glass jar, and had Vallejo paints with it as well. It was the perfect starter set, but they used the 1980s tooling of a plane. And you're thinking, you had everything there. You had the sprue cutters in. You even had a sanding stick. Different grades either side. Perfect paint.
They basically did in England at the World Cup, didn't they? Everything's set up. Just win it on penalties.
Yeah. For my 2 pence for a starter kit should follow Airfix recent example. Simple build with a few added bits. Simple color scheme with an interesting subject. They sell themselves in the shop. Yeah, didn't you say that? The best sellers are the Airfix F-35 and the tank double set of the Sherman and Tiger. Yeah, I totally get that. Listen, I've got. The reason I said the Tiger was it's got even less part count than the Airfix Sherman. The only fiddly bits on it were the flaps at the back, the mud guards at the back. And I've done this. This kit here was done as a starter set challenge. I did a full build on it. It took me about an hour to do. Filmed it, everything, and I painted this using the Humbrol pants. And I got a pretty good finish. I even highlighted Humbrol paints, and I even highlighted all the tools on top. I thought this to me was an easier build than the Sherman Firefly. I understand the tracks were they look a bit nasty with that mark, because it's two-part backs. But I didn't mind that because I glued them together, squeezed them together, and I got myself a nice little tank out of it. So that's why I did. I even, did it using the brushes, but I did use a flat brush. The third coat on it, I used a flat brush, which I showed in the video. Why I said you should do it, but the Sherman Firefly is also good, even though it's inaccurate because it's got a gun and it shouldn't have a gun on it. Should be, but that's the thing, isn't it? They design these kits so well that I think don't even bother with the Spitfire. Actually, saying that. And I think you'd agree with me, Alex, that F-35 that they brought out as a starter set is bloody good.
I've sold more F-35 starter sets than any other Airfix kit in the shop. And I've been open a couple of months. I've reordered it twice. So, the F-35, it helps. I've obviously got them on display in a shop as well, I guess. But also, it's a recognizable subject. You got to think, if you're Gen Z or Gen X, an F-35 is your phantom of the day. You know, it's your
F-35 rolling off the end of an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, it makes the news.
Protecting pilot, yeah.
Getting lost in America after crashing. Yeah, it's
It's a
present,
good one.
you know?
It's a good one. No disrespect to younger generation, but they're also not as used to working with their hands or following instructions. Well, I want to go on the fence with that because the emphasis now in education is about the trades, isn't it? They're that desperate now for brickies, chippies, whatnot. And when they say instructions, I've always said this, and you may laugh at me when I say this. I think if somebody wants to bring out the most perfect instruction sets, they should get the guy who does the IKEA ones to do them. I'm not lying. IKEA instructions, if you bring them a wardrobe, they are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Airfix would need to include extra bits in all the kits.
Yeah.
So you'd have some left at the end.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Why have I got 3 canopies left?
And £40 postage for them, so
yeah. But I think they do. I think they do work. They do start working with the hands. They do follow, but then they're following instructions. But their instructions are different to our instructions. You know, my nephews and nieces are all taught to code, and really, you know, writing down, you know, and teaching a computer to do what they need it to do is a skill in itself. The difference is it's all words, not pictures. So maybe the Airfix need to go back to the old school of having an exploded view and then just have a script to read. That's what kids do these days, is read scripts, isn't it? Mind you, I do miss that. I was talking about the other day, you know, I am crap at remembering what parts of a plane are called, the flaps, undercarriage, I know the basics. But when you have the old Airfix kits, it tells you what the part is you're about to glue in position, what it's actually called. And that's missing, I think. The instructions should be of an education as well. And that's what another one of the articles. Maybe that's what we need is more education, an educated version of instruction manuals. But Kelsey Weston says, does it depend on the result the model is expecting? If a beginner gets the kit together with a rough paint scheme but is happy they created something, then that is a result for them. Fair enough. But yeah. We also see Tamiya kits as bundles of starter kits with paints and glue. Do you? I've never seen a Tamiya kit as a bundle with paints and glue. Usually the PZR2 Chieftain or Chieftain standard, isn't it? That's a 148 then. That wouldn't be the 135th one, would it?
I don't do a 148 scale Chieftain.
They don't.
I don't know.
Which one is it?
Myself.
They're 135th, I think. I believe
135th is a maybe that could be
Those 135th kits are so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the M41 Walker Bulldog upstairs, and it was literally I built it within an hour.
Yeah, that's the challenge that's been set by Jonathan Mark and Spencer, isn't it? This year is the Bulldog, the Walker Bulldog, which I might even do. That I've got one here on the shelf that I might build for that for a bit of fun. But then,
wait there, I'll go and get mine.
I just want. So they do. I've never seen a starter set from Tamiya. So does it come with Tamiya paints? Well, Tamiya paints aren't that good for brushing with a hairy stick, though, are they?
I don't know that I agree with that statement. like I hear that a lot, but to be honest, I think Tamiya paints perfectly fine with the normal brush. I've never had an issue ever with that, so I don't see why there would be a problem. I mean, it couldn't be much worse than the super dried out pots of Humbrol paint, right? Like paint's better than that.
Yeah.
The problem with Tamiya and a paintbrush is that you've got to thin it to the right ratio, and not every single shade is thinned to the same amount. And also, don't be tempted to mess with it once it's down on the plane or tank or whatever. Leave it there for like 4 hours or something, because if you come back to that with any hint of acrylic thinner, any alcohol-based paint on there, it will reactivate.
Yeah. Actually, I had somebody come into the shop who bought some Tamiya paints from me and said, "Oh, I'm having a problem. It seems to lift off when I'm using, I'm using Tamiya masking tape." And I'm like, "Oh, how long are you leaving it on?" It's like, "Well, I'll let it dry and then I put masking tape on." It's like, "Oh no!" It's like, leave it at least a day, yeah, before you even think about doing that.
Also, I can get away with that. I'll get away with that if I airbrush it, I can pretty much leave it till it's dry. And then it will. But if you hand paint it, that is a different story altogether. Yeah. But I'd also suggest if you're going to hand... See, I have had issues hand painting Tamiya. If you mix in a couple of drops of retarder, you've got a lot... And a little bit of thinner, you've got a lot more time to play around with. And then I also think the coverage is better that way, personally.
I was interested in how many people use Airfix as their starting guide for who's using Airfix starter set to actually start their scale modeling journey. I'm one. Well, that and Matchbox back in the day, crumbs.
I think most people my age started with the Matchbox.
Yeah.
Mine was Monogram and Revell. That was it. I guess Tamiya, and Tamiya, but mainly Monogram and Revell. In the 70s.
We just said, sorry, Sprinkler. We did actually discuss that. What is a bad kit to a beginner? How will they know if they don't know anyone who builds? One person's bad could be another person's gem. I get that, but our point is that it's how the person reacts to that kit. Would they come back again for a second helping if the kit was that bad that they didn't finish it? So we already had that discussion, mate. So yeah, never had an issue brush painting or airbrushing Tamiya paint. Works well for starters, as you can thin it with water and clean it with a bit of soap. Yeah, I see that. There's somebody in our scale model club mentioned that they use this an additive that stops the Tamiya paint drying so quick. It's like a retarder.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the problem with you can brush paint using Tamiya, but what he suggested is actually just bung in this additive like a retarder. So what I found is when I've brush painted Tamiya, and I've still got them in my, even though I'm outlaw now, I've still got my Tamiyas there. I found that when I start painting, and then I go back just to go over it again, I'm peeling up the paint with the next lot of paint.
You can't go back.
You can't go
Never
back.
go back, boss.
Never go back. No. So yeah, but I still get that. Yeah, it's. I want to find out what it is. Celtic's on screen. What did Tim say the other night that he used in the Tamiya paints? So it helped. So he's used it and he's never had a problem with brushing it. It's not that stuff. No, it wasn't that.
That's what I use. I use that.
And you mix that in with the paint, and that will stop it. Yeah, you can get a good brush finish with it. Yeah.
Yeah. What I tend to do is I've got a couple of dropper bottles. One's got retarded, one's got a thinner. I put about 2 drops of each on it. It's obviously going to play with the mix as always, but to be fair, you took 2 drops of each, and that I'm good.
Yeah, that's a really good comment. I'm going to put this one up. The problem with beginners is they fear failure instead of learning from it and pushing on. Hang on. That might be it. He used something similar to that you've got in your hand, John.
Yeah,
I'll find out what it was. I might send a text actually and just see what it was. Because he's been using it. Actually, Tim's come up with a beautiful way of having the propeller look like it's spinning. I wish I took a picture of it when I was at the scale model show on Sunday. It's like he's put acrylic on the propeller, but he's got like a jagged edge, and then he sprayed it so it's like heavy black and then fades it. So it's got like a red tip. It's a heavy red tip, but then fades it. But it looks amazing. But I'll have to find. I don't know if I've got a picture on my phone, but I will ask and get some pictures. But it's brilliant. But paint is and also what glue do you use? There's nothing worse than a thick glue to make it look bad, like it bubbles, doesn't it? Because you've got this thick cement. And making a mess of that cement as well, because it is very stringy, isn't it? You get it everywhere if you're not careful. So it's
But again, are we getting now into the mindset of a modeler rather than a beginner?
Exactly, yeah.
The problem is, the big problem with us talking about this, just quickly, is we've been doing this a long time, so it's really hard to remember back that far. Yeah. And like he says, I to be fair, I was thinking exactly the lines you was going to Alex, and then I was like, hang on a minute, we've done it for a long time, so stuff like that, sort of kind of like second nature type thinking. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I just saw some of the comments that were talking about the models being glue bombs, and I thought, yeah, my first model, again, I was a little kid, and I remember painting and my paint running into the still wet glue.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm not suggesting that is an ideal experience, but we do, I think, have to turn down our dial a little bit from our expectations and experience.
Yeah, glue bombs. Nigel just said, hi, or the acrylic doctor or thinner for acrylic paint from Models World is amazing. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just trying to work out. There's a good starter kit, something that fits together well, but has enough to give a new modeler a wealth of experience without being impossible to achieve unless you have years of experience. I think the size of the parts should be included in that as well. You know, would you somebody with a tank, would you give them link tracks to do? You wouldn't, would you?
No.
So go on then. So let's put it out there. Let's look at the kits that you've got on your shelf now that you've built. What would you, if you were to make up a starter set, forget the paints and that, but say there's a particular kit that you've built in the last 18, 20, 24 months that you could think, I've built that, and I reckon that could be put into a starter set with paints, glue, and the brushes, and they will get a good kit. Name one, anyone. Go on then, John. Name a kit that you've built or think you would, or have built that you would make into a starter set or sell as a starter set.
The Tamiya Panther 3 early edition for me was, it's generally not expensive. The part count isn't crazy. It literally falls together. You can paint it one color. It's just the dark yellow, the Dunkelgelb. It's got the rubber band tracks. I think that either that or their Panzer II. That Panzer II that I think everybody has done. Will probably be even a better starter kit. That's my offering.
Yeah. Fair enough. Go on then, Fenris. What would you have as a kit for?
I was actually thinking that most of the Hobby Boss easy assembly kits that I've done, would all be pretty solid for like a starter set if it included like the paints and everything. I mean, they're already kind of designed with that approach in mind already, so maybe that's a little bit cheating. I mean, their biggest negative is they're not super detailed, but again, for somebody who's brand new to the hobby, they want to get a Corsair, they want to get a Lightning, they want to get just something that looks like the plane, have fun doing it. These kits are perfect for that. I could never speak highly enough about the Hobby Boss Easy Assembly kits. So that would probably be my selection there.
Fair enough. What about you, Matt? You've done a few easy kits recently.
Yeah. So I'd echo what Fenris has said there. The Hobby Boss BF110, I think I finished it at the beginning of the year. And was it last year? I can't remember. It has a very low part count. It's almost like a click together system. The details are relatively good. And one of the paint schemes included was an all black version. So you could just leave the canopy off, spray the whole thing black, stick the canopy back on, put your transfers on, and you are done. So yeah, I'd go with that. But the problem is, I do build quite a lot of starter sets already, and the other kits that I've built this year have been they're not starter set friendly. Like I've just done the Mr. Craft IL2M. I did it as a back to basics build, but even then it had like flash on every single part. Some of the parts are warped, some of the parts don't fit together correctly. On the flip side of that, I built the Eduard MiG-15, which is in 1 to 144th scale, which is an absolutely lovely little kit, but it's so small and fiddly that I think that even, you know, for a beginner, I think you'd really struggle with that one. Even if you use one of the simple paint schemes, which is just all silver, because it's just so small and there is so much finesse in the design of the parts. I mean, I even struggled. I lost 2 parts about 6 times and had to remake them every single time out of stretch sprue. So it was a whole thing. I mean, you could, in some respects, you could say, if you just want to throw something together and have it look like the thing at the end of the day, you could say, like, I know it's the worst PM model kit is the PM Spitfire, but it's so cheap. You could just glue it together. You can paint it however you want. It's like, if you're not fussed about how it looks at the end, then that's your success criteria, is to have something built, then that's fine. But if you want something to look like it does on the box, that's not for you. If your success criteria is to have something that looks good and you can put on your shelf and go, you know, I'm proud of that, I don't think the PM model Spitfire is the right call. I think you'd be better off with one of the other Spitfires from the other brands.
I'm going to jump in here because I'm going to say the 3 kits that I have built recently. I'm going to laugh at this one. You can laugh all you like, but the USS SSN 23 Jimmy Carter, it's a submarine. It's 2 halves stuck together. Okay. Paint scheme is black and red. And this is it. I haven't painted it yet, but I did that in 8 minutes. Okay. It went together really well. I would love to get hold of Hobby Boss Easy Assembly Kit. The Bearcat was a dream for a starter. It's basically, you know, the wings, put the bit on and just paint it one color. That would be a brilliant one. But Hobby Boss don't do starter sets. But if a starter set had to be built, would be that. And the third one I was thinking of, which I thought was a pretty simple build, which I've not seen as a starter set, was the Tamiya 148, the Dingo. I didn't think that was difficult at all to build.
No, it's not.
But it's you know, 148 scale. So it's about the size of the 143rd scale kits you get from Airfix. But that's just 3 kits that I thought if you can make starter sets of them, those would be 3. So the Hobby Boss Easy Assembly kits, it's exactly what it says on the tin. But definitely worth the work. What about you then, Sonny? What builds have you? Well, I suppose there would be a build that you've done.
I think the one that I can think back to, Tamiya Panzer 4. That's a really, really simple build. I can't even. I'm trying to think of an aircraft that I've done that's easy, but I can't. I mean, I know. I think we've said before a while ago. One of Tamiya's older, like 48th or probably the 72nd aircraft. Probably not some of the newer ones. I mean, obviously you'd have to research it.
Yeah.
But some of the old ones, they're a lot more. They're really good, and they're a lot more simple. Of course, if you get one of the more modern day ones, they are a lot more complicated. Yeah. I still think are easy to build, but they do have a lot of parts in them. So, which could obviously, can put people off, I suppose. But yeah. Fair enough. That's all I can think of, because everything I've done recently is complicated because I'm a sadist.
Yeah. Lexi, what kit would you recommend for as a starter set that you've built recently?
I mean, I was looking through what I've built, and there isn't either a starter set or hasn't at some point been a form of starter set. And then no one is going to agree with me on this. Probably the thing I found the easiest and had the least difficulty with was probably the Dam Busters Lancaster I did. And I think that's a really accessible kit. I'd never built anything big before. I built the whole thing in one weekend. Granted, I airbrushed it, which obviously a new person potentially might not do. But realistically, it's an extremely easy to put together kit. You could ignore all the internal detail if you wanted to as a starter anyway, which I used to do all the time. It's a really easy kit. And it falls outside the scope of like really a starter set because it's so big. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable and easy to put together kit, and like I think is really accessible.
Yeah. Good starter set was the Tamiya 1350 Fletcher. Big enough, multiple parts to build in subsections, build quite nicely, good value at probably 35 quid with glue, paints and brushes. Fair enough.
I've got that kit.
When I was 8, when I made my first kit, I went for the use all the paint and use all the glue approach. That's a good approach to have. Why do we need paints in starter sets? I didn't paint my models for the first 6 years of my modeling life. Very good. Yeah. Was it Matchbox who did the tricolor or the two-color? The tricolor was the yellow set. The tricolor was the yellow sets, wasn't it? You know? Yeah, I would advise an egg plane, I guess. Fun and easy. Yeah, they're good as well.
No.
I actually, if I didn't have the Hobby Boss ones in front of me, I was going to say egg plane / the World War II tank, all of those. They're fun. They're nice little builds.
Heresy. Burn you all.
Yeah.
It is what it is, lads. It is. Yeah. So what about you then, Alex? What would you have as your first start set?
Do you know, like Lexi, I was looking through my stuff and thinking, actually, most of the things I've built that would be suitable are already Airfix starter sets. You know, the Mary Rose is a great starter kit. The F-35.
You enjoyed building that one?
Yeah, and actually, that is the second most sold kit in the shop, is the Mary Rose. I think, as Sully said, and as John Alex said, the older Tamiya stuff, like the Panzer II, the Sea Harrier, as I mentioned, I think tanks are good because they don't have the inside pieces that can put some people off. I appreciate if you're interested in planes, you don't really have a choice, but it's an easy route. I think the one thing that I never thought about before until my recent live stream is Gundam. Or let's say Gundam-like things, because I was informed that what I actually built wasn't Gundam, it was something else by several people. But a weird Japanese robot, right? Because they're actually they're actually super easy to build. You actually don't need glue, and you do get a finished product in no time. And you can paint them. You don't need to paint them, but you can paint them, so you can develop skills afterwards. And the kinds of things that a lot of kids would be into. So that's something that I'd never considered, which I think would actually make a good starter set.
Yeah, I was going to say too, because Gunpla is, I mean, again, it's very large, very big. It sells, it's growing, I think, at a much faster rate than military models are, and for all of those reasons that you highlighted right there. And at the end of it, you then have a model that has plenty of posability. You can, display it in many ways that you just can't with, there's only like one way, right, that you could display a model tank. It's on the ground, right? So there's an element of that as well. I absolutely, for people just wanting to build a model for the experience of building models, I think Gunpla is the way to go. I do think that it's a little more niche, even within a niche hobby, though, and that's the downside to it. But no, otherwise, I 100% agree. And Gunpla is,
Yeah,
Unless you're in Japan, and then it'd be the other way around.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point too.
Yeah.
Speaking in generalities.
Nigel's just said, I think we're forgetting here's one major point. There are people who want to get into modelling who will find the kit too simple, but then another person will find the same kit impossible. I think we did come across that a little bit, didn't we? I think the major point is what is there on offer to the scale modeler that they can start and finish in one go and be happy with the actual product they've built.
Yeah.
I think I think Airfix realised that Spitfires and Red Arrows isn't the way into a scale modeler's heart. A lot of youngsters now love their cars, and hence why they went all out and have got 5 or was it 6 vehicles in their starter set range, when originally they just had like the Beetle's missing. A new tooled Beetle is needed desperately, and I have that down this year as one of their cars they're going to release this year. The Beetle's got to be in there somewhere.
Would a new modeler even recognise what that was, Moss?
Depends which Beetle they do. I would like them to do the new version.
Even the new Beetle is out of production now.
That's disgusting.
I actually like that
absolute filth. What's wrong with you? You need to look at it.
Well, yeah, I know the history of it was like, Hitler apparently designed it, and after he had his second wipe on the toilet, he thought, well, we'll make the spare tire, the air for the water jets or whatever. But I remember when they released the new version of the Beetle, right? And my friend had one. Well, the girl actually had one on a courtesy car because her car got smashed up. And it was big in yellow. It was really, and the looks that we got, driving around, people like smiling at this new Beetle.
Flower pot in the centre.
And do you know what made me laugh is that Audi thought we could do one as well and made their TT, but just lowered the roof slightly. Do you know what I mean? If you look at the Audi TT, it's like a Beetle.
I've been doing them for years.
Yeah. So the Porsche is basically a glorified Beetle, isn't it? Really. But I would like to see Airfix bring out a Beetle, and I think people would get into scale modeling because they've got a Beetle. I
think the other kits that would make good starter kits, and they kind of do them but badly, are the old Matchbox kits. And Revell have these first diorama things. The problem with them is they got 2 paints in them, and they're about 3 times the price that they should be. If they actually made a decent starter set out of some of the old, like the old Puma and Comet and stuff, they're really easy to put together. And for a starter, they cover a wide range of subjects. If they make them cost effective, they would work quite well, I think.
I did a video on it, on that Revell first diorama, and I said it's all well and good putting the paints in and everything, but how do you paint the diorama bit? Because those paints wouldn't work, unless you can't do a camouflage scheme on the diorama as well, then you wouldn't see the tank, would you? You know what I mean? But I would love, it's. I think the subject matter needs to change as well. But starter set's a starter set. I think we've got a vast improvement. And like I said, Hobby Boss's easy, authentic, easy assembly one. I've got one here, which I haven't built yet. But the check, the lid, you open it up. I just dropped a bit on the floor. Where is it? I know it's in clear plastic. No. It's in clear plastic. Yeah, that's right. The carpet monster's too big for the carpet monster. You put that's it. There's 2 bits. Put them on, and then you just have to paint that, and it's done. And the fit is really good. The fit's really good. I actually like that. I like it in clear. Actually, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Having a clear part. But yeah, so the easy assembly kits are, and you get 1 sprue then, and on the sprue is the cockpit.
Was that like a special edition one or something for the
don't
having
know.
the whole fuselage
I don't
being clear
think-
like that's interesting because I hadn't seen that before.
No, I think especially I just think they only had clear in stock at the time. That's what I think. But yeah, that's easy. What's it? How many parts is it? There's so many parts. Was it 15 parts? 2010 design this one. So, but it is something very simple. But they don't do it with paints or that. You see, so yeah. Well, you know, Fenris, have I asked you about starter sets? What would be your perfect starter set?
Yeah, I was saying the easy assembly, the Hobby Boss easy assembly ones. I really do think that again with some paints they would do really well.
Yeah. I had one of the latest TTs. The Diesel Ultra was limited edition interior. It was awesome, but not very practical. No. But they look good. I do like the TTs. You know, not the bubbly one, but the nice, the straight edge TT they brought out was quite nice. Or the Audi R8. I'll have one of them as that's good stuff set. Do an Audi R8 because that'll be one color. That'll be one color, wouldn't it? So normally they were silver or black, weren't they? The R8s. Some of you have weird views on what us youngsters are like. Well, Keith, you tell us, then, mate. You tell us. You tell us. You know, I'm mid-40s now, mate. When I was a kid, we used to scuff our legs. We used to get cord, all sorts of things, and we just got on with life.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't need a safety harness to go climbing trees and grabbing conkers and shaking the branches. In fact, I could even play conkers. Yeah, but I could play conkers without having to wear a mask and gloves. Eye protection. Mid-40s, Moz. Yeah, definitely mid-40s. Yeah. Our play parks wasn't made of rubber, it was tarmac, mate. Actually, the only bit of grass and mud, and that was at the bottom of the slide.
Don't even remember that.
Usually it was a big puddle that had accumulated in the concrete. The slides that used to be like 190 degrees in the summer, freeze solid in the winter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
them were the days. Thank God for progress.
Yeah, you know, we used to play football, and we'd always, you know, so there's always be a dog that is shit somewhere near the penalty spot when he'll go in for a tackle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
God, you were lucky. I had glass.
You had glass, yeah.
Yeah, it's always glass. Always a bit of glass.
Yeah.
Actually, just on that point about like weird ideas about what young'uns want, one thing I think that Revell do is, in a very cynical way, I must say, is try and tap into that kind of more screen-based, like app-driven world. Have you seen they did a version of the tractor which is associated with like one of the tractor farming games?
No.
Have you seen that? Yeah, and they've done like stuff with World of Tanks. So they are trying to bring in, I mean, Revell are quite good, I think, at franchising, you know, because they got the James Bond stuff, you know, they got the Star Wars stuff, the Mandalorian. They do a lot of that. So I think they're bang on with that, unfortunately. Not necessarily with everything else, but so I think, you know, like the symbol, right, for the chap who commented there, who's I've lost it now.
Yeah.
But it was an Among Us little bod. You know,
So you're still with the kids then. You know that.
Well, it's because my kids play those games, right? It's not me. I am way too old for that.
It's a good game, that is.
But yeah, so that's the world of So,
well, I think a couple companies did World of Tanks because I know Italeri had a bunch of World of Tanks as well.
Yeah.
And the War Thunder as well.
Did. Yeah.
Or maybe it was War
Thunder. I mean, that's kind of going for the.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of going for that. You know, it's just like, where might people get their interest? Because we got our interests, I'm guessing. Well, I got my interest, I can only talk about myself really, from watching war films with my dad and stuff, because they were always on TV. They were always at Christmas and stuff. And that's how I kind of got interested in history. And my uncles were into that. And I got books from them and stuff. is there the same exposure? I mean, now, I don't know. It mainly comes from YouTube and TikTok and stuff, I guess, more. So you're probably going to get more on like the Ukraine, what's happening in Israel with Hamas. And I don't know. It's a very different view of people making models of drones, Reaper drones and whatever. It's a question, I don't know. But maybe if you're making starter sets of things that are more relevant rather than, another Spitfire, then you're going to capture the minds of people who have grown up with that rather than second-hand, World War II stuff. Now it's like, 4 generations down.
But then,
Farming
as I said,
simulator, that was the one.
Yeah. But as I said then, that's where if the starter sets are for younger people, older people, then maybe the pool of kits need to be aimed at them to get them into it. But then I still say, one of my first kits was a Spitfire. One of my first builds with my parents was a space shuttle. Above my pay grade, but I saw it being built and I wanted to build something similar. Mini Cooper, things like that you saw day to day. But again, Spitfire is still the number 1 selling model kit from any scale model manufacturer, I guess. So they'll keep on creating more. I think Lexi's gone now, I'm afraid. I think she's tired. She's got work tomorrow, even if she's had a day off today. And she's gone. But didn't Zvezda do some World of Tank models? Did.
Yeah.
Quite a few have done World of Tank models, haven't they?
Well, it's a big game. It's been a big game recently. Recent year.
Well, and you also had the Led Zeppelin stuff, and what was the other one?
Yeah.
Motorhead.
Motorhead, yeah.
Actually, Iron Maiden did.
Not like, yeah.
Iron Maiden did it.
With bespoke sculpted pilots, if I recall.
Well, that's the thing about the starter sets from Airfix, was that the Spitfire comes with a pilot, doesn't it? But you don't have the paints to paint the pilot with it.
I never used to paint pilots when I first built kits.
No.
I used to put the pilots in and not paint them.
That's a bit trendy now, isn't it? Some people do that. They do like the shadow, or what do they call it? There's a certain style. They paint. Yeah, they sort of paint the figure so that they look in like contrast rather than actually like accurately. So it's like a shadow of a person rather than the actual representation of someone.
So it feels like me at the moment.
Yeah, just zenithal highlight it.
Yeah, I think something like that. I don't know what they call it though. It's like got a specific name.
Yeah. We're going down this road again, whether we should put pilots in kits. I had the same conversation with Malcolm Childs at Bugle Corps. He was there, Models for Heroes, and we got into the debate on whether there should be pilots in planes. Because I said, we were talking about QC from Airfix, and I said I'd rather pay £2 extra for a kit knowing it was made in the UK than have it cheaper and made in India, where I know that one of us here in this group is going to get a kit with short shot. And he said, I'd rather pay £2 extra to get a pilot. And I said, it's funny you say that, because would you pay £2 extra if the car came with a figure? Because people forget, cars don't have figures. And then we go into discussion then, say that's a good point. How would you do the scheme of a car then? Handbrake up, handbrake down, what gear is the gear in? Because, if you had a car with a driver in it, then the dashboard needs to have a set speedometer, needs to be set at either 30 or 50 or 70 miles an hour. Because if it's on 0, that decal would be wrong then, wouldn't it? If he wanted to look like he's driving. We've opened up a can of worms here, Malcolm.
Oh, it is a can of worms, that.
You're missing the one important, but you need a set of keys.
You need a set of keys in the ignition.
Unless it's a modern one, that they don't have them, obviously. But
no.
Or you need the bricks in the kit. When it's in certain city, the cars are in a certain city, and if you stand still for 5 minutes, they could put on bricks and get the wheels stolen from them.
No, that comes as an extra. That's the Liverpool and Manchester modification kit.
I was going to say, that's the Birmingham edition.
or possibly
Yeah,
somewhere around places around here.
I lived in a town called Skelmersdale, and there's not a single traffic light in Skelmersdale. There's subways, but every single junction had a roundabout. And they always used to joke and say the reason they didn't put traffic lights in it, but they had roundabouts, was if you stopped too long at a red light, you'd lose your wheels. You start to drive off, and you lost your steering wheel as well, and the radio would be gone. You know, that's why they had roundabout, and it worked well. Traffic lights are the bane. It really is. If every town got rid of traffic lights and just had roundabouts.
Oh, do you know what? I don't know. Every time I go to Telford, it pisses me off because they love roundabouts around Telford.
Yeah, but they have.
They put traffic lights on the roundabouts. Which
Well,
makes
there is a few. There is a few, but there's a lot more roundabouts with nothing on them.
Yeah. There'll be no end to this and a diorama. How close to the car in front should it be? Yeah, it could go on and on and on.
Depends where you're modelling it, you know.
Yeah. Didn't Airfix 132nd cars come with a driver? They did, and they did the beach buggy, the Jaguar that they released,
420
DB, yeah. So, yeah, it's
Monty's helmet came with a figure.
Roundabout.
Yeah,
the Gannet comes with 3 figures.
Yeah. Moz, Sully, and Dale, don't they?
It does actually come with the figures that they showed at the show, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't opened my box yet.
So that kind of undermines their prior position, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does a little bit, doesn't
Have you
it?
got your box yet, Moss?
I have, yeah. Number 3,190 something, bastards. Should have been here on Friday or Saturday like everybody else, but no. I had to be put with the lesser mobs, like, you know, and get mine today.
Like me.
Yeah, like
me. No, I'm still miffed at that. I pre-ordered mine that very day, and I've had to wait.
To be fair, I did.
But guys, if you wanted it early, you have to pre-order it from Jadlam. You know the deal.
Jadlam didn't announce the kit was available until Monday. So I had an email this morning from Jedland to say that it was available.
Yeah, but they had it on sale previously.
Yeah.
We won't talk about Jadlam.
Yeah.
No, still sore.
Express delivery, yeah. Well, the trouble is, though, you can't really do that with pre-orders. Pray for express delivery. I've got the feeling that, you know. I reckon you're best off the day they announce it is to do it and pay for express delivery. Don't pre-order it anymore. Maybe that's the future in.
I think it's the last time it's the last time I'm pre-ordering. I think, to be honest with you, I'll just get it when it comes out. Being honest.
Yeah, I ordered the Spitfire when it was announced, and I got it before most people that pre-ordered.
Yeah.
See, to me. I mean, it might be different with certain companies, but to me, pre-order usually means you're going to get it just a little bit earlier than the rest.
Right.
That's what they need to do is say, you know, we've got it in the factory now, bump, and those that are pre-ordered go before the shops do. But unfortunately, the shop gives Airfix the most money. Well, I don't know, actually, because they get 30-day credit, don't they, Alex? Or some shops do. But
The big shops do.
They probably paid for it.
Not
So
me.
they sold at least 50 of the kits, and then they got the money back on the rest of them. So it's but yeah, it's
Point
sad.
of discussion for another time.
Another discussion on the podcast, I think, Alex. I think we need to do one on that one. Which reminds me, our podcast live this week, our latest one.
Yeah,
that would need to be heavily edited, Moss. I can tell you.
We should get others on. Well, we should get Lexi on as well while we do that one, because she could be like the judge, you know, what they call it, the arbitrator.
The arbiter.
The arbiter. Pre-order usually. Yeah, go on.
So I was going to say we should get John Alec, because his voice is so calming, like we couldn't be angry. So
what was it like?
If he says calm down, we'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, calm down. I'm down.
I really don't know why Airfix don't offer us YouTubers and forums the kits a few days early. Gets the interest up. Well, we've had this discussion. It's the situation with the ME410 has opened up a few wounds, and we've had discussions. And as I said, I see how it all. I know how it all panned out. I'm happy with the explanation I was given. There are certain people that aren't. But then again, you know, I look at Airfix with pink glasses on, and I'm an apologist of Airfix, so I can see. But I don't think that will ever happen again under somebody's watch anyway. So we will wait and see. But yeah, it's you know, my thing is that when a kit gets announced, I have a review out within days, and the last 2 or 3 I've not had that opportunity because it hasn't worked my way. So, but it's all right. I'll get him out in the end. I just don't get, I just don't have that exclusivity. Well, none of us do, because it's out there. So most of the shop actually goes direct to customers. Hornby trade warehouses tend to always keep running out. I don't know how it works. I think that's a question. If we ever get Dale on here, ask him how it works, I suppose. We'll have to get Dale on an Airfix and Chill. Maybe do an Airfix and Chill lunchtime and have Dale on. And
I think Benedetto needs to come onto that podcast that we do as well, Moss.
Who's that?
I think Benedetto needs to come onto the podcast as well.
He seems to know more than us.
He can back me up.
Yeah. Where's he based to? He's based in the southeast, isn't he? Is that right? You work at a model shop down by Kentway, isn't it, or somewhere?
Hampshire, I think.
Cambridgeshire. Yeah. Well, it's a subject for another discussion. But it's it's one of them, mate. One of them. Right, star sets. I think we've got to the end. Not really. Some auctions. Apparently, want some auctions tonight, so I better do some auctions, hadn't I?
Yeah.
That's right. I'm gonna pop in and see him at some point. Right. So I've got an absolute ton of Spitfires up in my room, and I thought let's get rid of some of these Spitfires. So first one tonight, we're going to do a Spitfire F Mark 22 172 scale. We're going to start with them tonight. We'll get rid of some of these Spitfires, and I've got another one to go as well. But where's my phone to? Let's just put this on airplane mode so I don't get notified. And then I need to go onto the clock, go onto stopwatch, timers. 3 minutes on the starting 3 minutes.
You should go full screen as well, Moss.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen. Gonna go full screen. And where is it? Where's me? There's the button.
That way we can pull silly faces while you're doing it and you can't see.
Yeah. Hey, put your finger down, Alex. So that's the work one way around. So. Yeah. Bids on this one, please. 1 to 72nd scale Supermarine Spitfire F Mark 22.
Someone go.
That would be a good starter kit.
That would make a good starter.
That would make an excellent good starter kit. Yeah.
What have I done with my what's it called? I used to have post-it notes here, so I could write down who bought what. Nothing worse than
not organised, are you, Moss?
No, I'm not organised. I'm really crap at the minute. Really crap. What's that one there? I've got a sprue here. I don't even know what's in it. Oh, that's the Mitsubishi Zero. Did anybody get any Audi kits, by the way? So sprue started with 4. Thank you, sprue. Did anybody get a Cromwell? Because there was no Cromwells in any of the Audis I went to.
I saw one, but I didn't buy it.
Is it a good kit, or is it that old 176 scale one? So use my karaoke pad on the back of my karaoke pad. So £4 so far. Dave Barber's gone for 5. Well done, Dave. 5 at the moment.
Miles, out of interest, is your timer on?
Yeah. Oh, it's come off the screen. Hang on a minute.
I was
There
sorry.
you go. There you go, 1
I
minute
thought
20.
you hadn't started it.
Yeah, no, it's all started. He grabbed the last Provost. I've got 2. I got the Provost and I got the Curtis Tomahawk. But I didn't get the Cromwell. It's a 176 Cromwell, is it? Oh, sad again.
Cutty Sark is a dreadful kit.
Oh. So Dave Barber's going in at 5. I just picked up the Cromwell from Audi today. I think it was the last one. Yeah, I didn't get one. It was a bit of a shame. Bit of a shame I didn't get that one. Oh. Where's the other kit I was
Your
gonna...
timer's gone again, Moss.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm there. Oh, come on. There you go. Oh. Ah, there we go. Oh.
Oh,
It's
someone
gone
asked
again, is
about
it?
someone asked about postage as well, Moss. Worth
Oh, yeah, it's
clarifying for
£5
everybody.
postage. Is bog standard £5 postage. 9 seconds left, 8. So you want to bid now. So you got £5 so far from Dave Barber. £5 postage as well. But you only pay it once because I fit it all in one. There you go. Dave Barber won that one for £5. Marvellous.
Good job.
Stop it. The noise. Cancel. Right. We do the 3-minute one. 3 minutes on this one. So Dave Barber won that one. This is an old kit. I must make sure it's all in there, actually. I didn't check. I think it's all in there. Make sure it's all in there, actually. This is crap tonight, lads, isn't it? Yeah, it's all
It's
in
not
there.
bad Spitfire, to be fair.
Yeah. So this one here is the Spitfire Mark 172 scale. The original this was, isn't it? It's one of the originals.
I think it's
All
the,
the bits are
the
there.
sort of second or third tooling, isn't it?
Yeah. All the bits are there. It's an old what's it? Yeah, this is crap, isn't it? Why won't it stay on the screen? So 2 bits of plastic, 1 canopy, 1 vintage, instructions. Oh, come on, you get. And canopies in there as well. And the decals aren't too bad either. Basic decals. But yeah, I thought I'd get rid of this one because I've had this one in there. There's the canopy there, all in the box there already. So there you go. Spitfire Mark 1, one of the original toolings. But I'm just gonna go. I've got one good one tonight, which I think is worth a few quid. Which I'm gonna show everybody. I'm trying to get with some of these Spitfires. Vintage Classic. Vintage Classic, it's called. Vintage Classic. 125 left on the clock. People bid late anyway. They don't want it. I just thought I'd get rid of it. Oh, that's the proper 1957 Spit, is it? Is that 1957, is it?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's more recent than that.
More recent than that, is it?
I think Airfix have had about 3 or 4 different Spitfire Mark 1s in 1/72 scale, and I think that's the most recent version before the 2010 tooling.
Oh, right, okay. Screen. How do I make the screen?
Yeah, that was a new box in 2008, according to Scalemates.
2008, is it?
But the
That's when Humber
tooling
just after Humber. By 41 seconds on this one. This time is crap. I have to get a proper big timer, aren't I, on the screen or something? Ah, okay, it's not that one. It looks like the old box art. It is the box art.
1975.
Oh my gosh.
1975 tooling, that one. That's an old one, that. Like 22 seconds left. No one's got a bid on this one, I guess. So
I'll give you £3 for it when I see you next.
Yeah, you can do that, mate. You can have that for £3.
If no one else bids for it, I'll have that for £3.
You know, I'll even drive it up to you one evening because I want to come visit you anyway at some point. Right. Next time we go to, that's it, all done. That one's finished with. That's good. We'll get rid of that one.
Nice.
Get rid of this one. That's £3 on that one from Matt. I'll give that one to you, Matt.
You'll have to remind me though, because I'll forget.
Yeah. Hang on,
Yeah, Matt, give him all the coppers.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. I've got way too many Spitfires as it is.
Right. Stop that.
People keep telling me off at the moment for building too many Spitfires.
This one's interesting, folks. This is a mini craft kit. It's an old one, but I think it'll build up quite nice. It's the first steam locomotive. Okay, it's a weird scale actually. It's 138. 138 scale. And it's like one big sprue. It's all steel sprue. Comes with a base as well. Comes with some metal bits in it as well. So, and then there's the other box of sprues. It's like coal there. You get a base in it. There's no decals in this one. All right, it's just a bog standard, nice build, mini kit, mini craft. If nobody wants it, I'll keep it and have a go. But so it's through and good. Gone for a 5 on this one so far. I think I paid £35 for it, £40 for it about 2 years ago.
Wow.
From a dealer. They're the rarest rock and roll shit these are now. I don't think you can buy them anymore. But it is a lovely kit. But what's Minicraft then? Because this must be 1980s.
It's actually a 1970s Gakken kit.
Oh, is it? 3 minutes.
Boxed
3 minutes
by
23.
Minicraft in 1996.
1996. So it's 30-year-old kit, isn't it? So I've got £10 now so far for Man's Model Moments. £10 for a shop. But yeah, I think I paid. I'm sure I paid 30 odd quid for it because I was to do it as like a diorama, but I never got around to it. These are drone kits on the market. What do you mean drone kits? How can I get the screen to stay on longer than I need it to? Where's screen
Get an
time?
Android. That'll do it.
You can get a timer on like on a web page, can't you? And you can put that on the screen.
Yeah.
So you got your computer behind you, screen behind you. You could put it on that.
I ain't got a timer on my Mac. I don't think, have I?
Must be able to. There must be a web page where you can just load.
I was saying you could get it. It'd be a website. You could do it.
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. We've got 2 minutes 24 on this one. But yeah, so as I said, I'll pay money for it, but I'm never going to build it. So if anybody wants it, they can have it. Bit of a cheapie. Just to get some of these kits gone. So £3 for that one for you, Matt. We must meet up and go up to Man's shop, Alex's shop at some point.
Yeah, I need to
and head down past Poppers at the same time.
Road trip, Southwest road trip.
Southwest road trip. Settings display auto lock. You're the man. Settings display auto lock. So settings display. So setting display. Where's display? And auto lock 30 seconds. We'll have it for 5 minutes. That will do. And back. Then back. Got to love an iPhone.
Oh, guys, that kit's worth more than £10.
Thank you there. So we've got £10 here at the moment for this one. So it's definitely a few quid. To build it, I reckon that would be a lovely diorama, wouldn't it?
Mm.
It's a really interesting kit, yeah.
These bits here are all metal, by the way. Them bits there are all metal.
Oh, there we go. 15 from Celtic West.
Celtic West got 15. 15 on that one. I've got a cracker of a minute of a minute you're all going to love. But hopefully, I was going to get some good money for it. It's like, 20 for Mans. I love a good battle. 30 seconds left on the clock. Oh, weird. Okay, fair enough. Weird. How much for the Trafalgar mod? Have I got a Trafalgar? Have I? Where's the Trafalgar? You're taking the piss.
He doesn't even know what he's got.
Of course
Where's
it
the
is.
Trafalgar to? 10 seconds. 10 seconds. You want to bid now? What's your folder? Have I got your folder? Help me for that. What's your folder? Submarine. There you go. So then, man's got it for 20 quid. Man's got it for 20 quid. Fair play, fair play. Close that one. Right, start this one again.
Add it to my tab, Moss.
Add it to your tab. 120 now, that will be. Right.
Yep.
Another Academy Minicraft Space Shuttle and booster rockets. Okay. This one's lovely kit again. Made in it's Republic of Korea Academy Model Company. So inside the box, you've got the kit here to build it, but they've also added some metal bits to it because apparently there's a way you can light up the rockets. There's a space underneath to put batteries, but I don't think it comes with the wire. I think you have to. There's a wiring diagram underneath. I don't know how it works. I think you've got to add some lights to it and stuff. I think you've got to add the lights. You've got to buy some lights for it, but apparently you can get it to light up. Apparently, but they're not in the kit. I've looked. They did come with the kit when I bought it, and the kit was sealed. So don't question me on that. But it's the Space Shuttle Orbiter, and it does come with all the names you need: Atlantis, Columbia, Discovery, and Endeavour. The only one it doesn't have is Challenger, because that had blown up by that point, I think.
Or Enterprise.
The Enterprise never had a booster on it, did it?
It was retired.
Yes, it
wasn't
did.
It never had the booster. It was never put on a booster.
It was. I've seen photographs of the Enterprise on the booster because they were doing.
It was never launched. It was only ever launched off the top of a plane.
No, the Enterprise was put on the booster for the ground up tests. Basically when they were lining up all the gantries and everything. So they lined up the Enterprise on the launch pad.
Yep.
Yeah. But you can get some light for it and you can have it so it lights up. But anyway, so unfortunately that's not in the kit, but it never came with it. I think it was like they give you the plastic and the little bits. You have to do the rest of it. But no bids so far on this one. But I don't think no bids. But yeah. Space Shuttle with rock. So if anybody wants to bid on that, it's a lovely kit. But
I think I'm a bid of 15 on that one, actually. I've been wanting that kit for a bit.
You want to put 15 on it, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I put a 5 on it. At least we got a bit of a war going on.
So Feminist has got 15. All right, then.
I wasn't sure if it was going to post under my name, under mine or both of ours again. So
yeah, I don't know. So anyway, Feminist
wants to fight back.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good little build. I don't know whether you can have it open or no. I just think it's on the booster because there's a picture of it on the side with it open, but I don't think that's got the bits in it for that. I don't think. So 15 so far on this one. 1 minute 30 to go. Oh, Nigel's popped in for 10 minutes. Oh, Nigel, you all right, my friend?
Hello, Nigel.
There you go.
Morning.
Hey.
Morning.
So yeah, 15 quid so far on this one. So anybody wants it? I think it's a good little kit. Now, Feminist has got it at 15 at the moment. 1 minute 15 to go. How are you, Nigel? How's little Jess?
She's okay at the moment. Yeah, thank you. She's but my mum's not very well now either, so life's a bit at the moment.
Yeah, I get that, mate. I'll be back with you in a minute. I'm just going to put it back on live on big screen a minute so I can keep pushing this one. It's the last one tonight, this one. Last one. Feminist has got it at 15 quid at the moment. 15 quid. 39 seconds left on the clock.
Been needing me to get some more space models, so
Yeah, I built it years and years ago, but it didn't have all the it didn't come with the boost, the bit on the bottom anyway. Not a bad little kit. A little bit of filler required, but not a lot. So 70 seconds left. Currency at 15 quid. Those who have won something tonight, please email me and I'll sort out shipping this week. All right. Not buying my own kits, Wayne. No, not at all. 2 seconds. There you go. Ferris has won that one then. Brilliant. That's done. Sorted. There you go. A few. I'll get some more next week. So if anybody else wants to bid on some of my kits to get rid of, that's fine. I did think of putting some on Vinted because Vinted's the new place to put model kits on. So if I do put some on Vinted in the next couple of weeks, I'll let people know they can buy them from Vinted because that way you sort out your own shipping and you can pay for your own shipping. So I recently built the wiring instructions. Right. Okay. I am, mate. All right. How's you anyway, Nigel? Thanks for dropping in.
All right. Thanks, mate. I come in because I want to have a chat to you after.
Oh, do you?
What do Vinted charge? Are they cheaper than eBay?
Yeah, oh, fucking hell, mate. Vinted, if you want to buy model kits, buy them on Vinted now. I'm telling everyone. So, right. So, with eBay, as you know, I'm an eBayer, they'll take between 12 and 15% of the final monthly fees and the postage fees. You need to promote your listings now for 2% minimum, 2% on the promotion. You set your postage and then you send it, you buy the label and you send it. If that something goes wrong, it's on your head, you have to cover it, okay? Vinted have shaken it up. So say I want to sell this for 20 quid on Vinted, I will get the full 20 quid. The buyer pays the premium. So at 20 quid at 3%, there's an extra 60 pence on there. So they're paying £20.60. They also pay the postage. Now you can set it up to use all 5, every Hermes, DPD, the lot, or you can set up just the 2, which is what I do, which will be in post and Royal Mail, and then you set the price. So what happens is they then buy it. Once they've bought it, Vinted give you the label to put on the parcel. Once that parcel is scanned in and goes off, it's their responsibility. So if it gets lost, Vinted pay out. You keep the money, Vinted pay out thing. It's shaking up everything. I'm buying kits with Vinted. Fuck eBay when it comes to model kits because there's no profit in kits anyway on eBay. I make money on vintage and antiques anyway, so that's buying. So I use eBay for that. But I recommend anyone to start using Vinted. Even though I'm an eBayer myself, if it comes to you want to sell model kits, put them on Vinted because what you sell them for is what you actually get. It takes about 9 to 12 days to get the money in, but because the buyer has paid the postage through Vinted take on the responsibility. So if there's a delay in tracking or something, delay in getting there with those tracking issues, Vinted cover you. Whereas eBay, because we've had to buy the postage, it comes back to us and bites us on the ass.
Right, you're screwed.
The only thing is, though, you can't do it as a business, which is why I'm not on Vinted as a business. You can only be private. And their search is crap. So you type in, you've got to be specific. So if you want Airfix scale model kits or Tamiya, comes through, right? But if you're just looking and browsing saying Airfix armor, there's no point because you won't find it. It will just show you Airfix kits. But I recommend using, if you want to start selling and buying kits, do it on Vinted, mate. Forget eBay. eBay has lost its way, but you are protected. The only thing is, though, is that there is, if they get the kit and they decide there's a bit missing, really you have to give them the whole money back. There's no point in sending it back and getting a refund. I think, there's swings. You're not protected as much as you are on eBay, but you're going to get more money for your buck, if you know what I mean, than this, okay. And it's easier to list. You haven't got to put in all the item specifics. You just take a picture, write what it is, title, write a little description. Yeah, there's a wheel missing, or I've had this kit for a while. It's lovely, and because not a lot of people use Vinted, it takes longer to sell, obviously. But nowadays, I'm going to start putting all my kits on Vinted. So there you are.
My last batch I saw on eBay, the fees were a joke. It's ridiculous.
Oh, they are. You work on thirds on eBay now. So
Yes.
the product is a third, your profit is a third, your fees, your postage, your packaging, all the is the other third. So if you sell a kit for 30 quid, you're lucky to get £10 for it if you bought it for 10 quid.
I
If you
saw
know
the
what I
kit
mean.
for 120 and I got 87 quid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous. You
But
know,
I'm one of their high. I pay £500 a month in shop fees. I'm high up, you see, so I get concierge and everything. But they've just changed the rules now where you can't get feedback removed now. They won't even concierge won't remove feedback. If you get a negative for any reason, they won't remove it.
no.
So for the first time in 10 years, I'm 99.8% feedback now, not 100%.
Right. Is Sully building
Anyway,
the Gannet?
pardon?
Is Sully building the Gannet?
Maybe.
No. Anyway, folks, we're going to call it a night tonight anyway on Airfix and Chill. Thanks all for watching. We'll be back again next Monday. Hopefully, we'll have a guest in or we'll have another subject matter, and I might give you a link to Vinted. Now, I've actually convinced myself to start selling kits on Vinted. Anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed it tonight. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sully. Thank you, James. Thank you, John. Thank you, Fenris. Just a little hello for you, Nige. And thank you, Lexi, for coming on. And for all of you in the chat, thanks all. And we'll see you next week. Take care all and goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.